The materials I'm using in this tutorial are scissors, darning needle, 4 stitch markers, tape measure, and a 3.25mm hook. That's what I'm going to be using. And for the yarn, it's called Ice Cream. It's 100 grams and it's 100% acrylic. It's a light 3 yarn. It recommends a 5mm hook, but I'm going to use a smaller hook because I wanted my stitches to be close to each other, and a 5mm hook is a bit big, so I'll put this aside. To get started, we're going to make a square, just like what you're seeing here. So I already have my square completed, but I'm going to show you how I started it, okay? And then after that, I'm going to show you how to make the body over top, or the rest of the top. To get started, you're going to make a magic ring. Then you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, hold on to the tail, chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to yarn over and place 3 double crochets in the magic ring. So that's your first double crochet. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and you'll have 2 double crochets here. Yarn over, insert your hook in the same ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now here we have a total of 3 double crochets. Again, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So after your 3rd double crochet, you're going to chain 1, then you're going to yarn over, make 3 more double crochets into that same ring. Once you're done with the 3 more double crochets, you're going to get your stitch marker, and you're going to mark where you placed your first chain, where you chained 1. You're going to place there a stitch marker. Okay, so after making 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 1, then yarn over and make 3 more double crochets into that same ring. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and repeat until you have 3 more double crochets. Okay, so I now have 3 more double crochets. So I'm going to chain 1, but before I continue, I'm going to place a stitch marker right here where I chained 1. So you're going to yarn over and place 3 more double crochets into the ring. That's 1, 2, and 3. Get your stitch marker and place it where you chained 1. Okay, and now you can pull this tail to close the ring. Chain 1, and you're going to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet that you made. So slip stitch, and we have a chain 1 here, so that is where you place your next stitch marker. So here we have 4 corners. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Everywhere we chained 1, that is going to be a corner of our square. So that's the end of row 1. We're going to start row 2. In order to start row 2, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work, and then in that space where we have the stitch marker, you're going to take it out and you're going to make 2 double crochets. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's your first double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook in that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, you have 2 double crochets all in this chain 1 space. Chain 1, and then you're going to place 2 more double crochets into that same space. That's 1 and 2. Okay, so you're going to get your stitch marker and place it right here where you chained 1. So push this to the side and place 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 stitches. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the chain 1 space. All right, I'm now at the chain 1 space, and I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and then I'm going to place there 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more doubles into that same space, and that's our second corner for this row. Then push it to the side so you can see clearly, so you can see this first stitch. Then you're going to yarn over, place there a double crochet, get your stitch marker and place it where you chained 1. Okay, then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 stitches. When you get to the chain 1 space, you're going to make 2 doubles, but let's take this out. So make 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space, chain 1, again in that same space make 2 more double crochets. Get your stitch marker and place it where you chained 1, right there. Then you're going to yarn over and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 double crochets. And this is our last chain 1 space, so we're going to place there 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space. Okay, then place there a stitch marker where you chained 1, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 3 double crochets. So yarn over and make a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, and on top of the next. So the last stitch here is going to be the same stitch where the chain 2 is coming out of. That's the 3rd stitch. So you're going to yarn over, and in that same space you're going to make your last double crochet, and then you're going to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet. Ignore the chain 2 space, the chain 2, and slip stitch on top of the first double crochet, and that will mark the end of your 2nd row. Then we're going to start the 3rd row, and to do that we're going to repeat row 2, chain 2, which does not count as a stitch, turn your work, yarn over, and you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to where you placed your stitch marker, so right here. Okay, we take the stitch marker out, and then in that chain 1 space we're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space. Then you're going to yarn over and make 1 double crochet on top of the next 7 stitches. But before that, let's place this stitch marker right here. So you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitches until you get to the next stitch marker. When you get to the stitch marker, you're going to take the stitch marker out and place there 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in that same space, and then you can put back your stitch marker. So after that, you're going to place 1 double crochet on top of the next stitches until you get to the stitch marker. Again, when you get to the stitch marker, you take it out and you make an increase. So make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in that same space. Okay, then you're going to place 1 double crochet on top of these stitches until you get to the next stitch marker. Take the stitch marker out. Sorry, I forgot to put this back. This is just for, for beginners. They may need to, well, you will need to mark your stitches so you know what you're doing. So in the last chain 1 space, you're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets in that same space. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches. Again, the last stitch is the same stitch the chain is coming out of, so make sure you place a double crochet into that same stitch. And then you're going to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet, and you should have something like this. Okay, and here I have 3 rows, so the 4th row is going to be just like the 3rd row that we just completed. So I'll show you guys one more time, and then I'll go ahead and show you the rest using my square right here. All right, so chain 2 and turn your work, double crochet until you get to the next stitch marker. When you get to the stitch marker, you're going to place there 2 double crochets. That's 1, 2, then chain 1 and make 2 more double crochets in that same space. So next you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch here until you get to this next stitch marker. And take the stitch marker out and make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in that same space. So you're going to repeat that same pattern just like what we did on row 3. So you're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back right here where we started from. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to make your last double crochet in that same stitch the chain is coming out of, and then you're going to slip stitch right on top of that first double crochet, then chain 1, and then you will cut off the yarn once you have your desired length. So you can make about 7 rows if you are a size a size extra small to small, make 7 rows, and then a size medium, you're going to make 8 rows. For the large size, I'm going to be making, well, I have made a total of 10 rows here. So if you are bigger, then you can, you know, make more rows. So next we're going to start building our top into our square into the top that we want to make. But before that, I want to show you guys how big. So my square is 7.5 inches. Okay, it's 7.5. And then from one corner to the other, it's about 9.5 inches. Okay, so cut off the yarn and fasten off. I'll put that aside. So here I have my square, and this is where I left off, and you can see that the seam is very straight. Okay, that's why we needed to turn our work, and that really helps a lot. So you're going to make a slip knot. And then you're going to insert your hook in any of the chain 1 spaces that you have on your square. So I'm going to place my hook right here, and then I'm going to attach my yarn, chain 1 to secure it, and then I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. The chain 2 again does not count as a stitch, so you're going to yarn over and make 2 double crochets in that same space, which is a chain 1. Okay, so we have 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space. So I'm working over the tail of my yarn as I go, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the next chain 1 space. When you get to the end of the row, here is the chain 1 space, and you're going to place there 2 double crochets like that. Then you're going to, before I continue from there, remember to turn your work before starting this row that we just made. Remember to turn your work, because we left on this row, which is facing backwards on this other side, the wrong side. So remember to turn your work after every row. So once you're done with your 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space, you're going to chain 2, which does not count as anything. Turn your work, and then you're going to place 2 double crochets on top of this first stitch. So insert your hook and make 2 double crochets on top of that stitch like that. Then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you have only 1 stitch left at the end. So now we have started making increases. All right, so here I have 1 stitch left, and I'm going to place there 2 double crochets. So we're making an increase at the beginning of every row and at the end. Okay, and as you can see, we're now working from this chain 1 space to this one, back and forth. We're not working on all the sides of our square. You're working from one corner to another, and then you chain 2, turn your work, and you start with an increase, which is 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and you end with an increase at the on top of the very last stitch by placing the 2 double crochets on top of it, and then chain 2, turn your work, and you repeat that same pattern. So that's basically it for this part. Repeat this row and the second one, making 2 double crochet. Well, I already explained that. So chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to repeat that same thing. Start with 2 double crochets, and then make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you have 1 stitch left. All right, I'm going to work the rest off camera. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to make, so I'll go ahead and make it, and then I'll be back to show you guys how many rows I made and to show you what to do next. I am back, and I have completed a total of 16 rows, and this is how your work should be looking, and I'll show you guys how long this is. So it is 13.5 inches long. That's the length from this point to this point. So now we're going to cut off the yarn. Okay, remember to chain 1 here, chain 1 and cut the yarn, and tighten that strand. So make a slip knot. This row that we have here is, what I mean is that after this row, the next row is supposed to be facing on the other side. So remember to look into that and turn your work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reattach my yarn, and I'm going to start from this corner and work until I get to this corner. So I've already made my slip knot. I'm going to attach my yarn right in this corner, and we're basically going to do the same thing we did on the other side. So chain 2 does not count as a stitch, then yarn over into that same space. You're going to make 2 double crochets, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the next chain 1 space. All right, after working on your last stitch, which is this one for me, you're going to place 2 double crochets in this space where we made the increase for this other side. So going to yarn over and insert your hook in that space and make 2 double crochets, and that's an increase for this side. So that means we've made an increase here and another increase here at the beginning. Chain 2 and turn. Then you're going to start making your increases again, just like we've been doing. Start with 2 double crochets and end with 2 double crochets. And you're going to do that until you have the same length as the other part that you have finished. So you can keep doing that until you have enough rows. I'm at the end and I have 1 stitch left, and I'm going to place the 2 double crochets to complete the row. Chain 2, turn my work, and that's what you're going to repeat. So repeat those 2 rows of increase that we just made until you have enough length, same as the first piece that you made. Okay, so I'll go ahead and keep repeating that until I have a total of 16 rows of my increase. Then I'll be back, guys. This is how my work is looking at this point, and I'm going to show you how wide it is. And it is 23.5 inches wide. So you have to make sure that the width of your top is half of your bust measurement. Okay, so this is half of my bust measurement, and remember it is not stretched, so when you stretch it a little bit, it's definitely going to fit better with the straps that we're going to add for the back. All right, we're now going to add some loops at the bottom, because that's what we're going to work into to make the we're going to attach our fringes in those loops that we're going to be making at the bottom. So I'm going to turn my work around. I'm going to start from here. I will insert my hook from this first side row like so, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to make a chain of 4. That's 3 and 4. Then in that same space I'm going to make a single crochet like so. So we have this first loop here. In the next space we're going to make 1 single crochet into the next space, chain 4, then single crochet again in that same space. In the next space make a single crochet into the next, chain 4, single crochet again in that same space, and you're going to repeat this until you get to this part of our top, and then I'll show you what to do around this side because it looks different from what we're working on right now. This is what I have now. So these loops this is where we're going to insert our fringe. So now when you get to this part of our top, I have single crocheted in this last space here. So here I have my first stitch for this side of the top, and I'm going to place there a single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 4 and single crochet in that same space. Okay, skip a stitch, and into the next space you're going to make a single crochet like so, single crochet into the next, then chain 4. Okay, then again in that same space make another single crochet, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next, single crochet once again, then chain 4 and single crochet in the same space. Okay, your work will look like this, and you're going to continue like that. Skip the next, single crochet into the next stitch and into the next, chain 4, then single crochet in the same space, skip a stitch, single crochet in the next 2 stitches, chain 4 and single crochet in that same space. Okay, you're going to repeat this all the way around the top, and I will meet you on this other side. Okay, so this is how my top is looking, and I'm now at the end. I'm going to place there a single crochet, and then there is a stitch right here among the stitches that are on this other side. So I'm going to place there a single crochet, and then I'm going to make a chain. Make a chain long enough to go around your waist, to tie at the back of your top, that is. So I'm simply making a long chain. Alright, once you have your desired chain, you're going to make a slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. So skip the first one, in the second, make a slip stitch, slip stitch into the next, and you're going to make slip stitches all the way to where the chain started from. So we're just making slip stitches across the chain. Okay, I'm working towards the end here. So once you get to the end, you're going to make a single crochet in the next stitch. So leave this one because we already have this stitch coming out of it. So into this next one, make a single crochet into the next, chain 4, 1 2 3 4, back in that same space, make a single crochet. So now we're going to repeat what we did here at the bottom, and we're going to do it across, going upwards. Okay, skip the next, and into the next 2 stitches you're going to make 1 single crochet, then chain 4, single crochet in the same stitch, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next 2 stitches, chain 4, single crochet in the same stitch, skip a stitch, single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and you're going to repeat with this pattern until you get to the other corner. Then I'll show you what to do next when we get there. So here I have 1 stitch left, and I'm going to single crochet in it, and then I'm going to make a chain just like we did here, and this chain should be long enough to tie around your neck. After you've gotten your desired chain, you're going to make slip stitches. So skip the first stitch, and into the second you're going to make a slip stitch into the next, and you're going to make 1 slip stitch in every chain until you get to the end of it. When you get to the end of the chain, you're going to single crochet in this first row, single crochet right there, then you're going to chain 4, and back in that same space you're going to single crochet in the next side row, go into the next, chain 4, single crochet in the same space, single crochet in the next 2 spaces like so, chain 4, and in that same space single crochet. We're doing the same thing we did on this side of the top. Okay, so you're going to repeat that, and I'll meet you here so I can show you how to work around this V-neck. Okay, so here I have worked a loop in this row before the first row that created the V shape. Okay, so you'll have it like this. So in this next row we're going to skip it. We're going to skip this row and the first row on this other side of the top. So you're simply going to go across on the other side of the top right here and single crochet in that space. Okay, and you'll have something like this. Then you're going to chain 4 and single crochet in the same space. Okay, you'll have it looking like so. Single crochet into the next space and into the next, then chain 4 and single crochet in the same space, and you're going to repeat the pattern until you get on top here. And when you get here, you're going to make a chain like how we've been doing, and you're going to repeat the pattern on this side of the top, and I'll meet you here towards the end. Okay, all right, I have worked in my last stitch and made a single crochet, and I'm now going to make a chain that's gonna be long enough to tie around the waist. So after making the chain, I'm going to skip one, and into the second I'm going to make a slip stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch in every chain until I get to the end. When you get back to the end, you're going to make a single crochet in this space right here. Hope it's clear enough. In that space, make a single crochet, and then in that same space make a slip stitch, chain 1, get your scissors, cut, leaving a long tail that you can weave in. All right, here I have my fringe. This is 15 inches long, and I'm going to grab about 4, I think. Yeah, I'll grab 4 of them and make sure that they are even. Then I'll grab my hook, and starting from this point, the first loop that we have, I'm going to insert my hook, and then I'm going to pull through my fringe like so. And there I have my first fringe attached. Get 4 pieces, make sure they are nice and even, get into the next loop and pull your fringe through and secure it. And I'm going to continue like this all the way around the top, the bottom part of the top. Also, if you like, you can do away without the fringe, but I believe it gives it a really nice look. And ta-da! This is the final look after attaching the fringe. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And also, this brings us to the end of the tutorial. I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.